This is The Spotlight, where we turn the spotlight on the arts. I'm Kevin Perry, your host for the show, and we thank you for joining us again. This morning we have a very exciting show planned for you as we turn the spotlight on the arts. But before we do that, let me give you just a few events that you may want to attend where you can see the best in arts education through performances of all of our students. On this Friday night, October 4th at 6:30 p.m. in the LPA Auditorium, the Drama Department will present All the World's a Stage. That's Friday night at 6:30 at Lincoln Park Academy. On Friday, October the 11th, Lincoln Park Academy High School Band Concert, again at 6:30 in the auditorium. LPA Chorus, Cafe Romano, that's Friday, October 18th. Again, at 6:30, but that event will be in the Lincoln Park Academy cafeteria. And on Thursday, October the 24th at 6:30 at Lincoln Park Academy Auditorium, that will be the LPA Orchestra's fall concert. In addition to that, on October the 19th, you'll be able to see some of the best marching bands perform at the Citrus Bowl in Vero Beach for the annual Crown Jewel Marching Festival. And on October the 26th, you would also have an opportunity to see marching bands do their MPA rating performance. Now, here we go with our show for the day. We're calling this one All in the Family, as we turn the spotlight on the arts education in St. Lucie County, arts education that's being performed by family members here in our district. So at this time, I want to welcome to the show acclaimed band director, Mr. Jim LeBon, and his son, James LeBon. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Perry.
It is indeed a pleasure to have you both to the show. I'm really excited about this all in the family concept. Mr. LeBon, we'll go to senior first, okay? Would you tell us just a little bit about your background?
Originally, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I came to Florida as a freshman in college at FSU, and I've taught in Florida and Georgia. I'm this is my 32nd year of teaching. I've taught high school for 14 years, and I'm in my 18th year of middle school teaching. I am happily married for 26 years, and I have two wonderful sons, one of whom is sitting next to me, and the other is a history major at Florida State. I've been in this area now for 18 years, 11 years at Dan McCarty, and going into my 7th year at Southport.
Okay.
I really enjoy it and having a marvelous time.
Okay. Mr. LeBon Jr., for the sake of the show, okay? Tell us a little bit about your background.
I'm a recent graduate of Florida State University. I earned my Bachelor's of Music Education last spring. I interned at Vero Beach High School up in Indian River County. Let's see, under Mr. Jim Sammons and Mr. Page Howell. Let's see. This is my first year teaching. I'm teaching at Westgate K-8 Middle School. I teach 5th through 8th grade band, and 4th grade general music. Let's see. I've been in this area as long as my family has. We've been here since I was in the 2nd grade. Let's see. I have performed, for lack of a better word, profusely in the area with the St. Lucie County Summer Musicals. I've performed as a member of the Indian River State College Band for 2 years. I graduated from Port St. Lucie High School in 2007. I was also a member of the Marching Jaguar Band for 4 years. And I also earned my Eagle Scout rank here when I was a boy of 18.
Okay. So you teach middle school band at Westgate. Mr. LeBon, what do you teach?
I teach middle school band at Southport.
Wow. Now, that's why we're calling it All in the Family. You went to Florida State, and you went to Florida State. What is this going to Florida State? Why did you follow in Dad's footsteps at Florida State?
Well, there are two reasons that I generally give out. One, my father has, since I've been old enough to recognize his reputation and his skills, I've always been told he's a really good band director, and I've seen him do it, and he is a deft hand at it. And I wanted the same education that he received so that I could be just as good, if not better, in the coming years. The second reason is I have always wanted to be a member of the Marching Chiefs up at Florida State. to this day, I still get the chills when I hear them warming up on their particular song by Charlie Carter, Campus Echoes. And the raw power of that band and the sound that they can produce, even with that 450 people marching on the field, sends chills up and down my spine.
Okay. Now, let's go back. Both of you are band directors at the middle school level. Why do you think it's important to encourage students to participate in band or any arts-related activity? Yes, sir.
I think it gives kids something that they're good at. I think it's something that elevates them. It's a lot of fun. And it gives them an opportunity to interact with kids that are their age in different levels. There's just so many positives, so many things that they can learn, and so many things that they can learn and feel good about themselves. To me, it's not just about learning an instrument, although that's very important. I think it's that whole idea of working as a group and achieving a goal.
Why do you think participating in band or the arts helps students do better in school and helps students stay in school?
Okay. Band and the arts in general gives students who are, less academically inclined a reason to come to school in more extreme cases. I've heard of kids who, the only reason they've been in school at all is so that they could go to their arts classes or the classes where they have fun. The thing about music is, and the arts to another degree, is we teach, but we're teaching them something that they can't get in an academic course, a standard academic course, excuse me. We focus more on teamwork. We perform so that everybody sees how well we do. And we're also, in other classrooms, they are, they have to stick to the academic regiment that is produced by the county and the state, and that's fine. But for the music and the arts classes, we can go more in depth with culture and try to teach the kids about, how we behave in school, how we behave as a culture, and how they can, look into things more in life. Like the goal of my class, hopefully, is to produce kids who can listen to a piece of music once they leave my program and say, hey, that's really good, or they really didn't do much practice, did they? So they can be well-informed music listeners.
I do agree with you about the cultural aspect of participating in the arts because, Mr. LeBon, you know that we play music in band from many diverse cultural backgrounds, many diverse composers. Mm-hmm. So we are giving students the opportunity to not only play that music, but understand about the cultural background of that performance. Would I be correct in that?
I think I always try to bring a historical perspective to the music that I pick. We talk about the composer, we talk about the time period, we talk about why this was important. The different cultural things and different things that, I always try to highlight all these things that come out, awakens kids' ideas. Sometimes I'll have a student that'll go and do extra work and find extra information about what the piece was about. Last year I played a march called Mount Rushmore March, and we turned it into a whole lesson about the creation of the Mount Rushmore monument. And the kids learned an incredible amount. Many of them didn't know where it was, mm-hmm. and or who the presidents were that were on it. Mm-hmm. And so, through music, through the playing of the march, we had a whole history lesson.
Now, let's get to this all in the family aspect. Mr. LeBon and Junior, for today, what middle school did you go to?
I went to Dan McCarty Middle School when my father was teaching there.
And who was the band director there?
Oh, Mr. LeBon.
And Mr. LeBon was Mr. LeBon your band director? Did he start you?
He most certainly was.
And what instrument do you play?
My main instrument is clarinet, although I do play saxophone as a secondary.
Okay. And Mr. LeBon, Dad, what instrument do you play?
Clarinet and saxophone as secondary. Yeah. And we both play Barry when we do big band gigs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All in the family. Dad started you at the school that he was teaching at. You play clarinet and you double on saxophone just like Dad. You went to the same college as Dad. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you're teaching middle school, and Dad, you're teaching middle school. What does a father say to a son who's teaching the same level, same courses that he's teaching?
You know, come home and, you know, how was your day? And, you know, what went well? What didn't? We have a lot of things that we talk about, and it's fun. It's interesting seeing James's perspective on, you know, I did that 32 years ago, and so it's totally different. I was also teaching high school and middle school when I first started at the same time, so that's very different. It's interesting to listen to his descriptions of, you know, what his students are doing and how different things that we talk about work or don't work.
And to you, what's the conversation like around the dinner table?
Usually we take care of business before dinner, but sometimes we do speak about work. And when that does come up, it's just, you know, okay, so this is what happened. So what worked, what didn't, and we analyze the problem. We figure out, you know, how to do it better, because that's something that my father has taught me, my mother too. You know, don't wallow in, you know, stuff that has not worked or failed. Figure out how to fix it. Figure out how to do it better. Do not accept failure as an option.
It is really great having this conversation all in the family. Tell me, do you participate in any other performing organizations to continue your performance aspect of your music career?
I play in the Ambassadors of Swing, which is a big band in the Port St. Lucie area. I've also been a member of the local community band.
Mr. LeBon?
Every summer, Mr. Howell in Indian River County puts on a performing ensemble, the Treasure Coast Wind Symphony. That's the correct
We're
name,
both
right?
in it. Wind Ensemble.
Wind Ensemble, excuse me. And it gives us an opportunity to sharpen our skills and make sure we haven't, you know, okay, C is 1, 2, 3 in the thumb.
It's good to remember those fingers, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here's my final question to you. What would you say to a parent to entice that parent to make sure that their child participated in the arts?
To me, the arts is an activity with no downside. There's always something positive to do, and I think that's just a wonderful thing for our kids.
Mr. LeBon?
I would suggest to a parent, you know, have your kid take art. We put a lot of emphasis on reading and writing and science. Give them something interesting to read and write about.
Well, now, as we part this segment of the show, Dad, are there any other words of wisdom that you want to share on your son as he continues his first year as a middle school band director?
We talk about this all the time, and then to me, everything, it's just a process. It's a learning experience. It's a try this and see what happens. And, you know, it's a journey. I think that's the biggie. It's a journey.
I understand that as well, and as a prior band director, I would say to you, just make sure that you're as consistent as you possibly can be. Consistency is key. Consistency is key. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the first segment of All in the Family. But don't you go anywhere. Stay tuned, because there's a second part of the show to this All in the Family show as we bring some additional educators to this edition of the Spotlight. Stay tuned.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblams, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
Welcome back to the second segment of The Spotlight, where we turn the spotlight on the arts, specifically arts education in St. Lucie County Public Schools. Joining us at this time are brothers, Christopher Cromer and Will Cromer. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to start with Christopher since he's the oldest brother. Would you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am currently the drama teacher at Manatee Academy in St. Lucie West, and I am a huge theater proponent in the community.
Welcome to the show. It's great to have you. And Will, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. C.
I am currently in my second year being the band director at Allapattah Flats K-8. I've really enjoyed it so far, and it's been a great community of band directors in this county. I wanted to say that.
Great, great. We're glad that that you guys are here working with us. And we're calling this show All in the Family. But let's get a little bit more background on the Cromer brothers. First of all, tell us, which middle school did you go to?
Well, we both went to Fort Pierce Magnet School of the Arts.
What a great school to go to, if I must say so myself. And who was the principal at that school at that time?
I believe it was you, Dr. Perry.
And what high school did you go to?
We both went to Port St. Lucie High School.
So you both went to Fort Pierce Magnet School of the Arts, and you both went to Port St. Lucie High School. After you graduated from Port St. Lucie High School, what happened after that as far as your educational career?
You want to go first?
All right. I went for 2 years at IRSC. I played in the wind ensemble and jazz bands under Dr. Southall. And then I finished my bachelor's degree in music education at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton. And then as soon as I was done there, I came right back to Port St. Lucie to teach at Allapattah Flats.
Great. And Christopher?
I went to IRSC, where I got an associate's degree in theater, and then I took a sabbatical from school, and I actually became an actor. I worked professionally in Orlando at Disney, and I'm also a member of the Actors Equity Association. And then I went back to school, and I got my BFA in acting from Auburn University. And then I came down here to come back to the community.
So not only did you both go to Fort Pierce Magnet School of the Arts, and then you both went to Port St. Lucie High School, you both went to Indian River. Great, great. Now, this is all in the family, all in the family. Now, we have two brothers that were heavily involved in the arts during your middle school, high school years. Tell us what activities you participated in any of those years. Chris, we'll start with you.
Well, for me, I was always more into the drama part of it. In middle school, I was in band, which I loved, because it gave me a really good music foundation, which then I felt really helped me as an actor, being able to read music and having that musical foundation. But in high school, I participated mainly in drama with Mr. Madden at Port St. Lucie High School, and it was good also because it gave me an opportunity to do some stuff with Will, because he was able to be involved there too, both in the musician side and in the acting side.
Okay. And Will?
Sure. You know, it's kind of funny. We've obviously been brothers for my entire life. But I've always followed doing whatever he did. So when we were really young in elementary school, he would always go and do acting things, and then I wanted to be an actor, so I would join the acting things. Then he did band in middle school, so I joined band in middle school. And I think it was a little subconscious. I wasn't necessarily trying to do everything he did, but he was a good example. And then he went to high school, and we were both kind of on the same track there. I had done a couple shows with Mr. Madden, being in the plays, and then that's where I kind of started to separate off into the music side. I really enjoyed doing the pits at Port St. Lucie High School, playing in them, just being a part of it. It's a great experience, and helping out the people on stage. So that kind of really set me in my path towards music education over theater.
Tell me this. Why did you guys decide to come back home?
Okay, one of the reasons I wanted to come back is, first off, I knew it would be great for me being a first-year teacher. I'm very comfortable with all the people here. You just had Mr. Laban on here. I've known him for many years, and a lot of my band directors that I had are still in the county. So I had a very good network. I had a good support frame for me to kind of lean on, and they really helped me out. In my first year, I was totally comfortable asking questions for them, and that was a big reason why I came back, because you had such a good network of teachers that I could work with, and that would really help me out. And then besides that, also knowing what goes on in this community music-wise, I knew that I could offer my students insight into what goes on here. I could talk to them about the high school programs, you know, because I've been here for so long. I'm very familiar with everything, and those were all reasons why I wanted to come back.
Kind of like William, being from here, you know, I had ties to the theatrical community here from being in high school. That was one thing that Mr. Madden always really pushed in us, was to be involved in the community to go out to see plays that were being done at other places. So I had a very good idea and connections with theatrical community here. And not only that, but I feel like I learned a lot while I was gone, working as an actor, living in New York, going to school. And I wanted to bring some of that back, both to the theater in the community and to the theater in the schools. I always believed when I was a kid that, you know, we really supported the arts in this county. And I certainly felt that way, and it pushed me to do what I wanted to do. And I was really happy to get the opportunity to give a little of that back.
Well, I hope both of you know that we're really excited that you decided to come back home to work. We really are.
Thank you.
I know our district has this program called A Promise is a Promise, where we speak to students when they're graduating, if they're going to major in education, and we make them a promise that if they get their degree and get all the certification requirements, that they're guaranteed a job. Did either one of you participate in A Promise is a Promise?
I didn't actually get to A Promise is a Promise. I went on my interview to Alpata Flats, and I was just accepted right there. I know that you guys would have found a place for me no matter what, but the administration over at Alpata Flats really liked, you know, what I was saying, my attitude, and I got the job. So.
Yeah, I remember the day you graduated with your bachelor's degree from Florida Atlantic.
That's right.
And I was, what are you going to do? And yeah.
You were sitting in the front row. Congratulations, Dr. Perry.
Thank you, thank you. Tell me, what's the conversation like around the dinner table at home?
Well, like I was saying before, I'm on my second year, and he started halfway through last year. So
the younger brother is really a little bit ahead of the bigger brother.
I have a little bit more experience dealing with the administration and the kids, and even the technical side, you know, into Skyward and all the things that we use as educators, you know, both technical and, you know, social with the kids and the administration. So, but we have talks about, you know, best way to talk to the administration. If we have like a question on like a kid or something, we can kind of troubleshoot and figure out the best way to handle it. It's been really good to have someone else to shoot ideas off of.
Yeah, I've definitely found that having him around has been a real asset to me as a beginning teacher, and plus, you know, having him as my brother means that if I want to call him at midnight, I can. So that's nice too.
That's nice too. I know that you just received a grant. Tell us about that grant and what you're doing with it.
It's a $1,000 grant from the Macy's Company, actually, and it is to produce a musical called Yes, Virginia the Musical, which is based on a children's book about a little girl who writes a letter to a newspaper asking if there's a Santa Claus. And it's a very well-written show, and they produced this amazing grant program which gives 100 grants to schools across the country, $1,000 each, to produce this musical. They provide all of the materials, they provide the music tracks, they provide pretty much everything, even down to promotional materials and programs and things like that, and everything is just made available. It's an amazing opportunity, and I was lucky enough to receive it this year, so we're going to be presenting Yes, Virginia the Musical at Manatee Academy December 11th and 12th, and we're very proud of it.
We got to make sure we get those dates and we advertise those dates.
We will.
And Will, what's happening with you?
Currently, besides being the band director at Alpata Flats, I'm also helping out Treasure Coast High School as their percussion instructor. I go after school and I work with the select percussionists. And right now we're doing marching band, but as we go further in the year, I'm going to stay on and work concert percussion as well. And then with Port St. Lucie High School, I go there and I help out with their musicals. I'm currently the pit director. I just got done with Shrek over the summer. I'm looking forward to MAME in February.
And you're directing the pit for MAME.
Yes.
Tell us about MAME with you.
MAME is Port St. Lucie High School's 25th anniversary show, and as such, Mr. Madden has seen fit to bring back some alumni to perform, and I've been lucky enough to have been asked to perform, so we'll get to share in that again.
Great, great. Fun. Brothers directing the pit, brother on stage. It's all in the family. What do you hope to accomplish as an arts educator?
Well, I think for me, looking back, you know, in the future, if I were to look back, I think the thing that I would most hope for is that my students will walk away from my class with a full appreciation of theater and the arts. I feel that I have students in 1st grade through 8th grade, and I feel that it's a very important age. You know, it's an age where you kind of are starting to figure out who you are a little bit. You're really determining your own set of interests and things like that, and kind of determining a bit of a direction of where you want to go in life. And I think that it's an important time to introduce the arts to a child, you know, a time where they can really develop a true appreciation for it. And I think that if they can walk away with that, that's really all I could ask for.
A couple more questions for you, and I want both of you to take a stab at this one. What is your most memorable performance as a performer or a teacher?
I will have to say it happened recently with Shrek the Musical over the summer. It had been the first time. I had played in a ton of pits for Portsmouth City High School. I also play, you know, locally, and when I was in Boca at FAU, I played in pits all the time. So I was very comfortable, you know, in the pit setting. But it was my first time being a pit director, and I also played bass while being pit director. So it was kind of it was two-sided. I got to perform with the kids that I was working with, and throughout the whole rehearsal process, it was just a great thing to be able to bring the music to Shrek, the music from Shrek, from the very beginning stages all the way to performance, and then, you know, the ovations from the crowd really made me proud.
Yeah, that's always a great thing. And Chris?
I think for me, I have to go on the performer side. Definitely some of the performances that I did in high school, which is funny because I've gone on and done other things that would be considered, I guess, bigger. But just being in those shows in high school, like The Wizard of Oz and The Mystery of Edwin Drood, where I remember when I went for my interview as a teacher, my principal actually asked me what was my favorite show that I had done, and when I told her it was The Mystery of Edwin Drood, she informed me it was the wrong one, that I should have picked The Wizard of Oz. So, and I hear things like that a lot in this community, and it's one of the things that really makes me cherish being a part of this community, is I feel that, you know, that I was appreciated here as a performer, and I appreciate this community for giving that to me, so I'm, you know, happy to have that exchange.
Okay, last question, briefly. What would you say to a parent to entice them to ensure that their child participated in the arts?
I would let them know that we offer something to them that, you know, they don't get elsewhere. They don't really do, you know, music outside of school so much unless they're in like a theater program. So of the band experience, it's really in the schools. That's the only place you're going to get it right now. So it's important to round out the student to be. It's not just about academics. You have to make them good team members. You have to make them. They have to be able to set goals and meet them. Practicing in band, it's its own encompassing thing where you set the goal, you practice to meet the goal, and you succeed. And it's something that we offer them, that we can take that idea and bring it away from academics and put it in the arts. And it allows some students to get it a little better than I think they would elsewhere.
Okay.
I agree. To kind of add on to what William said, I think that having an appreciation for the arts is an important step, and I think it's an important step in rounding a person, you know, in terms of getting that cultural growth that I think you need as an adult. It's important to have the academics and to have the knowledge, but it's also important to have part of culture, you know, to be a part of the culture and to both enjoy the culture that's given to you and to give back to the community and society as a whole.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the Spotlight. Here, where we turn the spotlight on the arts in St. Lucie County. We are so pleased and excited to have had Mr. LeBon and his son, band directors in middle schools, here on our show this morning, and the Cromer brothers, both also working in middle schools, one in theater and one in band. Thank you for supporting arts and arts education here in St. Lucie County, and we'll see you next time on the Spotlight.